Hey everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to talk about Stoicism. A philosophy that's become very popular recently. For good reason. Stoicism, with its focus on resilience and self-control, can help us live better lives that it teaches us to stay calm. Be in control. Accept what we can't change. This can help us live better lives, but there's a catch. There are small details in Stoicism that, if we don't understand, could lead us astray. That we often hear that we shouldn't let our emotions control us. Controlling and accepting what cannot be changed can teach us a lot about how to live a better life. There's a fine line between managing our emotions and hiding them. This is just one of the 7 habits we'll look at today. Actions that might seem like a good idea at first might actually be stopping us from growing. Emotional repression. Let's look at emotional repression. Stoicism teaches us the importance of not being entirely controlled by our emotions. It encourages us to feel calm and be rational, especially in challenging situations. However, there's a crucial difference that is often misunderstood. The 7 mindset habits we'll explore today include behaviors that might seem stoic on the surface but could actually be hurting our growth and well-being. These behaviors might seem like stoic virtues. They can limit our personal development. So, stay tuned as we find the 7 anti-stoic behaviors that could be holding you back and how to break free from their grip. Stay until the end, because understanding these nuances doesn't mean abandoning Stoicism. It's about embracing its core principles while ensuring we're not accidentally adopting habits that stunt our growth. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. 1. Emotional repression. Let's understand the idea of emotional repression. Stoicism is a philosophy that teaches us the importance of not letting our emotions control us. This is a very valuable lesson. It encourages us to find inner calm and reason, especially in difficult situations. However, there's a key difference that many people don't understand. The difference between managing our emotions and suppressing them. When we talk about emotional repression, we're discussing the act of pushing emotions aside or pretending they don't exist. That it's almost like trying to sweep things under the rug. Stoicism isn't about denying emotions, that it's about understanding their role in our lives and learning how to respond to them in a balanced way. Constructive manner. Think of Stoicism as a guide that encourages us to navigate the stormy seas of our emotions. Instead of suppressing them, it invites us to observe them, to sit with them, to understand what they're trying to tell us. After all, emotions are not enemies to be defeated, they're messengers offering insights into our inner world. The Stoics weren't advocating emotional repression. Let's understand the idea of emotional repression. Stoicism is a philosophy that teaches us to not let our emotions control us. This is a very important lesson. It teaches us to feel calm and think logically, especially when things are hard. But there's a small detail that many people don't understand. They think that being emotionless is the goal. They know that emotions are a normal part of being human. Stoicism gives us a way to see emotions as things that happen for a moment, not things that last forever. By understanding and accepting our emotions, good or bad, we learn more about ourselves. 2. Avoiding vulnerability. Moving now. Let's talk about avoiding vulnerability. In Stoicism, there's a focus on resilience and enduring hardship without letting it overwhelm us, but sometimes this is misunderstood as avoiding vulnerability altogether. Stoicism isn't about putting on a protective shield that shields us from the world. It's about understanding the strength in facing challenges head-on. Vulnerability. Avoiding vulnerability might seem stoic at first. It's the keep calm and carry on attitude, but true strength comes from admitting our vulnerabilities. It's okay not to be perfect all the time. Stoicism doesn't ask us to suffer in silence or face challenges alone. It's about understanding that vulnerability is a part of life. Emotional repression. Let's understand the idea of emotional repression. Stoicism teaches us the importance of not letting our emotions control us. This is a very valuable lesson. It encourages us to have a sense of inner calm and to think clearly, especially in difficult situations. However, there's a key difference that many people don't understand. It's about the human experience. It's about being open about our struggles, looking for support, expressing our true feelings. These are signs of courage, not weakness. By facing our fears, we can make deeper connections with others and with ourselves. It allows us to be our true selves and build real relationships based on trust and understanding. Stoicism doesn't say that. A front of invincibility. It encourages us to be strong while also facing our weaknesses as important parts of our lives. So, instead of avoiding vulnerability in the name of Stoicism, let's see it as a chance for growth and connection. It's about understanding that being vulnerable doesn't make us weak. It makes us human in the best way, overemphasizing self-reliance. Now, let's discuss the overemphasis on self-reliance. Stoicism emphasizes self-control and independence, teaching people to be masters of their own fate, but sometimes this idea is misunderstood as a call to solitude and an over-reliance on oneself. It's important to understand that Stoicism doesn't mean we should handle life's challenges by ourselves. While self-emotional repression. Let's look more closely at the idea of emotional repression. Stoicism teaches us the importance of not letting our emotions control us. This is a very valuable lesson. It encourages us to find inner peace and reason, especially in difficult situations. However, there's a key difference that many people don't understand. It's good to rely on others. It doesn't mean we should avoid their support and collaboration. In reality, relying on yourself should also include knowing when to ask for help. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of humility and wisdom. It shows that even though we can do things on our own, we're stronger and more resilient when we work with others. True self-reliance isn't about being alone. It's about knowing our strengths and knowing that we're part of a bigger community. It's about knowing that getting support doesn't make us less able. It makes our experiences better and helps us grow together. So instead of focusing too much on ourselves, instead, we should focus on the idea of interdependence, where we rely on each other for support. Stoicism tells us to be in charge of our lives, to make wise decisions, to be strong. But it also reminds us that we're all in this together. Now, let's talk about ignoring personal boundaries, which might seem strange. Reliance that isolates us. Let's embrace the idea of interdependence. Stoicism encourages us to be the captains of our own ships, steering our lives with wisdom and resilience. It also reminds us that we're sailing these waters together. Ignoring personal boundaries. Let's delve into the aspect of ignoring personal boundaries, something that might seem at odds with Stoicism. Stoicism promotes endurance and resilience. It doesn't mean disregarding our own limits or tolerating everything that comes our way. Often, there's a misconception that being stoic means accepting everything without complaint, even if it violates our personal boundaries. However, respecting our boundaries isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of self-respect and self-care. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot change. It also encourages us to change what we can. Understanding and asserting our boundaries falls into that category of what we can control. By setting and honoring our boundaries, we preserve our mental and emotional well-being. It's not about being rigid or inflexible, it's about defining our limits. which allows us to engage more authentically and responsibly with the world around us. So, instead of dismissing personal boundaries in the pursuit of Stoicism, let's see it as a practice in self-care and self-respect. Stoicism teaches us to endure. It also teaches us to discern and assert what aligns with our values and what doesn't. 5. Suppressing joy and pleasure. Let's explore the notion of suppressing joy and pleasure, something that might inadvertently be associated with Stoicism. While Stoicism values resilience and inner strength, it also teaches us to discern and assert what aligns with our values and what doesn't. Stoicism teaches us to endure. It also teaches us to discern and assert what aligns with our values and what doesn't. 5. Suppressing joy and pleasure. Let's explore the notion of suppressing joy and pleasure, something that might inadvertently be associated with Stoicism. While Stoicism values resilience and inner strength, it doesn't advocate for a joyless or pleasureless existence. Sometimes there's a misunderstanding that embracing Stoicism means rejecting moments of joy or pleasure. However, Stoicism doesn't encourage us to deny ourselves happiness. Instead, it offers a perspective on how we perceive and appreciate these moments. Stoicism encourages us to find joy in the simple pleasures of life. It's about being present, recognizing that these moments are short-lived, appreciating them without becoming attached to them. By embracing joy and pleasure, we don't go against Stoic principles. Instead, we enhance our experiences. It's about finding a balance between enjoying life's pleasures and not being dependent on them for our happiness. So, instead of suppressing joy and pleasure in the name of Stoicism, let's see it as an invitation to savor these moments mindfully. Stoicism encourages us to find contentment in what we have while it also appreciates the beauty of life's simple pleasures. Point 6. Denying change and impermanence. Now, let's discuss denying change and impermanence, which is a potential misunderstanding of Stoicism. Stoic philosophy teaches us to accept what we cannot change. It doesn't imply that we should deny the inevitability of change itself. Sometimes, people think that being Stoic means not accepting change. But Stoicism isn't about not changing. It's about dealing with change and finding strength in it. Stoicism tells us to recognize that things always change. Understand that change is an inherent part of life. It's about acknowledging that everything, our circumstances, our emotions, even ourselves, is subject to change. By acknowledging the impermanence of things, we cultivate resilience and adaptability. It's not about denying change. Stoicism encourages us to understand and deal with change in a smart way. It teaches us to be strong and wise. Change can bring new opportunities for growth and learning. Instead of denying change, we can see it as an opportunity to embrace life's changes. Stoicism teaches us to accept things we can't control, including the ever-changing world around us. Changing nature of existence while finding strength and growth amidst these changes. Lastly, let's address the potential pitfall of becoming overly focused on Stoic ideals themselves. While Stoicism offers valuable principles for living a fulfilling life, an obsession with embodying these ideals to perfection might lead to rigidity and a narrow view of the philosophy. At times, there's a risk of mistaking Stoicism as a strict set of rules, not flexible guidelines for living well. This can lead to feeling inadequate when unable to live up to these ideals, which goes against the philosophy itself. Stoicism isn't about becoming a perfect example of its principles. Instead, it's about applying its teachings in a way that fits our individual lives and circumstances. It's about using Stoic wisdom as a guide, not a set rule. By allowing room for different interpretations and personalization, we honor the essence of Stoicism. It's about integrating its teachings into our lives in a way that fosters growth and resilience, without feeling confined by a strict adherence to Stoic perfection. So, instead of trying to be a perfect Stoic, let's see it as an ongoing journey of learning and application. Stoicism encourages us to adapt its teachings to our lives, allowing us to embody its principles authentically while embracing our individuality. There you have it, the 7 There are behaviors that appear to be Stoic. They might actually prevent our personal growth. Remember, Stoicism isn't about following a set of rules. It's about understanding its core principles and applying them in a way that improves our lives. It's important to find a balance. We should embrace the resilience, wisdom, mindfulness that Stoicism offers. At the same time, we should avoid the pitfalls that might lead to rigidity or misunderstanding. I hope this discussion helped clarify these details and encouraged you to approach Stoicism with a more nuanced perspective. Let's strive for a life that integrates Stoic wisdom without losing sight of our individuality and humanity. If you've noticed other behaviors that might seem Stoic but have their pitfalls, if you have thoughts to share, please post them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more thought-provoking content. Thanks for joining us as we explore Stoic principles. Until next time, stay strong, stay aware. Remember that the journey is as important as the destination.